Hello, this is Maya Andreasen, and today we are going to go over how to make a custom shelf in Maya. So what is a shelf? A shelf is this area up here, if you can see where my cursor is. So this is a poly shelf. It's self-created in Maya. It comes with the program. Curved surfaces, there's rendering shelves, there's all sorts of shelves that come with Maya. And shelves contain basically shortcuts to actions that are used a lot in a given function. So for instance, in rendering, we have ambient lights that you can create directional lights, all sorts of shaders, and we also have rendering diagnostics, a shortcut to batch render, a shortcut to cancel batch render, and things of that nature. So functions that you would use often. So we are going to be creating a custom rigging shelf, and I actually have one right here. It has even more than just rigging stuff. This is all modeling, but this is a custom rigging shelf that I made myself, and I'm going to show you how you can not only make it, but that you can then save it and back it up. All right, so first things first, you will find on eCampus a zipped file called redfaction_proj. And within that project is a folder of scripts. So these are all the scripts that we are going to be going through right here. All right, so first thing is there's this tiny little cogwheel right here to the left of the script editor. And this is actually the shelf editor, I'm sorry. This is actually the shelf editor's menu. Here you can show your shelf tabs or not show them. You can get into the shelf editor, you can navigate through the different shelves, you can jump to a shelf, you can create a new shelf, delete a shelf, load a shelf, that's important, and you can save your shelves. So we're going to click the new shelf option and we will have the new shelf window pop up. So we're going to enter the shelf's name. I'm going to call this Mayette_rigging. So it's just my name _rigging. You can call it anything you want. You could call it rigging if you want, but there's already a default rigging shelf. So I would probably put either a prefix or a suffix to it. All right, so now that we've made it, we have this nice big empty shelf. Now, like I said, there is already a rigging shelf, but we're going to be making a custom rigging shelf. All right, so there's several different ways that you can add objects or functions to a shelf. The first one is by clicking Control and Shift at the same time, and then left mouse clicking on what you want. So for example, under the Modify menu, one of the things you'll be doing a lot is freezing transformations. So if I hit Control and Shift at the same time and then left click Freeze Transformations, as you can see, it now shows up on my shelf. Another thing that you'll be doing often is turning on local rotation axes and turning them off. So if I hit Control and Shift, display, transform display, local rotation axes, LRA will show up. Other things under display are joint size. This is a really good one. And IKFK joint size and IKFK and IK handle size. I'm going to do the IK handle size so that you can make that bigger or smaller as you need. All right, if we go to select hierarchy, that's another big one. And remember, I'm hitting Control and Shift. I'm pressing down on these. I'm not letting go. Another is edit, delete by type, history. So that's another one that is used often. If you want to move or change the order of any of these functions, you just middle mouse drag it. And when you see this little dotted line, you let go. And as you can see, I've moved history so that it's now by freeze transformations. I can also move select hierarchy, right? So we've just moved the order of all of these functions. All right, so those are some easy ones that we can add. Another one is Control Shift create. We're going to be creating a lot of NURBS circles, so let's just put that up on the shelf. All of these different functions, they don't require us to go into any type of scripting. but we're going to be going into some scripting now. So I'm going to open up my script editor, which is down here. It's this little box in the bottom right hand side of my monitor. And this is my script editor. And I'm actually going to go to Edit, Clear All, so everything's nice and clean. And the first thing that I'm going to do is we want to put in some rotational scripts. So let's create a circle here. And I can show you how you can get the code to figure out how to rotate and then make that your own Mel script. So if we select this and hit E actually to rotate, what we can do is we can go into the X here and we can type in 90 degrees. So now this has rotated at 90 degrees. We can also rotate it manually, and that's actually what I wanted. So here we have rotate -R -OS -FO, which I don't actually think we actually need. And then we have this crazy integer and 0, 0. So I'm actually going to copy this, paste it into my Mel script, and change a couple things. So I'm going to change this -85 to a 90 degrees. So this is now telling the computer, if I grab this and middle mouse drag it up to my shelf, I should have a custom script now that tells Maya, hey, I want you to rotate this thing 90 degrees in the X. So let's see if it works. If I click it, voila, it does. So it works. It has just rotated my circle here 90 degrees in the X, and we could go to the channels box and see this. Now we have a little issue here because we have the script but it's not named. So if we have a ton of scripts up here, that can get very confusing. So what I'm going to do is right mouse press on the script, and you get the option to edit or open it. I'm going to edit it. Now that opens up the shelf editor. Right now we're in the command line. I'm going to go to shelves. And over here in shelves, the shelves tab. So this is the command tab. So if you ever need to see your script, if you ever want to just change it on the fly, you can go into the command editor and do that. So I'm going to go into shelves here. I'm going to rename this rotate 90 degrees in the X axis. I'm going to double click that and hit Control C to copy. And I'm going to paste it into my tooltip. So what is the tooltip? Well, a tooltip is when you scroll over any object. Let's actually close this. You usually get a little yellow pop-up. And there it is. It says toggle local rotation axis visibility for LRA. You also get it at the very bottom of the screen. So if you look at the bottom left-hand portion of the screen underneath the Mel line here, you will see that same tooltip. So if your tooltip isn't popping up as a little yellow thread, it's also underneath the Mel line there. All right. And so I've made my own custom tooltip. My icon label, however, is going to be X90. And then I'm going to take it a little bit further. I'm going to change the color of the icon. So the icon label color. So right now it's like a light gray. So I'm going to click it and make it a red. I'm actually going to make it a darker red. Maybe, no, that's too dark. A lighter red. I'm going to make it kind of a salmon red, because we are going to have something else that's red later on down the line, and I don't want to confuse the two. So then I'm just going to save all shelves. And voila, I have my X90. All right, we're going to go back into my script editor, and we are going to make a script for rotating 90 degrees in the Y. So all I have to do is change the numbers here. So this is always the X, the second 0 is always the Y, and the third is always the Z. So I'm just going to type in 90 here. Select middle mouse drag up to my script editor. Now I'm going to put this back to 0 and see if this works. And it did. How do I know? It might have looked like it didn't, but if you look over here in the channels, you will see that it indeed did rotate in 90 degrees in the Y. So it's working. So let's open this and we're going to rotate 90 degrees in the Y. So I just Control V to paste. And now I'm going to double click, Control C. And for my tooltip, Control V. And my icon label is going to be Y90. And my icon label color, Y is green. So I'm going to pick this nice bright green right here and save all shelves. All right, the next one is going to be to rotate in the Z axis. So I'm going to click 90 in the Z and make it 0090. Select this, middle mouse drag it up here. I'm going to put my NURB circle at default and let's click it and see if it'll rotate in the Z, and voila, it does. And as you can see down here in my work window, it did that as well. So right mouse press and open, and we'll double click on the rename, change Control V to paste, but we're rotating this in the Z axis, so make sure to change the rename to correspond with the correct degree. And I copied and pasted, and now we have it in our tooltip, and we're going to do Z90. So Z is blue. Well, we'll have another blue thing. We're going to just have this a nice bright blue here, and click Save All Shelves. So those are our first custom shelves. They're really quickly our custom attributes or commands, and we made those really quickly. So we're going to go over here and we're going to clear all again. So now what we want to do is we want to load some of these scripts that I have for you guys here. So to load a script, we are going to open it. You can open it, or you can source it. That is not the correct folder. Even though I set my project, we're not in the right folder here. So we need to go to 284 Maya 2, and we're going to go in here to our scripts, and here's where our scripts are. So we're going to start off with a box curve. I think that's what we're going to do. So we're going to click that. And what this is going to do is it's going to make a custom curve for us. So I'm going to select it and drag it up here. And in order to name things, this thing is going to be BCC for box control curve. All right, so if I click it, let's see if it works, and voila, it does. So I'm going to open it. My icon label is going to be BCC, and my tooltip is box control curve. It's also going to be my rename. And we're going to save all shelves. Now, how do you make something like this from scratch? Well, we can delete it. And let's start by creating a simple square. So if you go into curve tool, you would go to either the CV or the EP curve, hit the options box. You'd want to make sure you're clicking at one linear. And then if you press X on your grid, it'll snap to grid. So X snaps to grid. And I have now made a square. I'm going to duplicate that square, and I'm going to rotate it in the X 90 degrees, and let's bring it up in the Y 0.5. Oh, nope, it's 1. We'll bring it up in the Y 1, and we're going to move it back in the Z 1. All right, so well, forward in the Z. Okay, so then I'm going to duplicate it, and we're going to do negative 1 in the Z. And we're going to then duplicate it again, and this time we're going to be rotating it in the Z, right? So we can use all these to do this rather quickly. Okay, and this time we will be moving it in the Z axis. So we are going to move it in the Z axis. Let's put it at 0. Okay, and then we'll be moving it in the X, so both negative and positive 1. So here's positive 1, duplicate it, and move it in negative 1. All right, so now we have a box, but as you can see, it's made up of 5 curves. So in order to get the equivalent of this thing, which is just one curve, we have to do the following. First off, we have to select all these curves, and we have to freeze transformations and delete history. So history and freeze transformations to both of them. We then need to center their pivot. So center pivot isn't an option right here. I'm going to add it by hitting Control and Shift, modify center pivot, adds it to my grid or to my shelf, and I'm going to click that. So all of that is very important. The next thing we want to do is display shapes. So we want to show the shape nodes. So yes, this is a very long process I am showing you. It is much easier just to use the Mel script to create the box just like this, but this is what we're going to do. So next we have to select all the shape nodes except the first curve's shape node. The first curve, we're just going to select the actual curve. Okay, so that's how all of this looks. And then we have to type in a command, and I'm going to see if I can remember it. I believe it, because we have to parent shape node. So I believe it is parent p shape. No, that's not what it is. But we can find it relatively easy because there's other scripts here. So what I'm going to do is load some of the other scripts. So let's clear all. And let's open the parent shape node script so we can see what this command is. So it is parent-r-s. So I missed the R. -r-s. So that is the command, and then if I hit enter, we can see that this is now changed. So what's different here? Well, if we look at here, we have one curve, and we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 different shape nodes. And all of these empty equivalent of groups are actually the original objects, so I can delete those. If I go to display and uncheck shapes, we can see that I now have one curve that is a box. Now this box curve here, it doesn't have the 5 different shape nodes because of the Mel script, but here we have one box just like here and 5 shape nodes, but it's just one control. So that's how you can make the equivalent of this control from scratch. Okay, so the next thing I loaded was the parent shape node command, which is a very good command. So I'm going to grab this parent shape tool and middle mouse drag, select it all and middle mouse drag it, come on, up to my shelf. And we're going to call it the PST tool. So I'm going to open it up and I'm going to, the icon label is going to be PST for parent shape node or parent shape tool, and my tooltip is just going to be parent shape tool. You can name it something else that is more descriptive if you want to. That's what I'm going to name it. I'm going to save all shelves. So what does this do? Well, it does the equivalent of what I typed in, and it also so it does the equivalent of putting in this Mel code, but it also does the equivalent of selecting all like the shape nodes for you. So it just makes things quicker. So I'm going to demonstrate it in action. So let's go to create. We are going to create some type. So let's say you have an IK-FK switch, right? Where's my type? There we go. So we would go IK-FK. Nope, there we go. And of course, with IK-FK, you can create curves from type. So that's what I'm going to do next. Is I'm just going to create curves from type. So I don't actually need the 3D mesh. I just need the curves. But as you can see, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We have a whole bunch of curves. So Shift P to unparent because they were grouped together. And we still need to freeze transformations. We still need to make sure We've centered pivot, and that our history is done. But now all we need to do is hit PST, and we have one object. Okay, so instead of me having to go in and manually select all the shape nodes and the top curve, the first curve, and manually typing in the code to make this one object, I just hit PST and it does it for me. So it shortens that process just a little bit more. So that's the parent shape node tool right there. All right, what are we going to load next? Let's go to Edit, Clear All. And we are going to open the next one we are going to open. Actually, I guess we don't need to clear all, but whatever. We are going to do, let's do our diamond curve. We're going to open that up. Yeah, we don't actually have to clear all. And so we're going to put this up here. And let's see how this works. Ah, look at this. So when we create this, let's get rid of this one. It creates a diamond. So this can be a good control. So if we open this, we're going to call this diamond control curve. And that's going to be our tooltip as well. And the icon label is going to be DCC for a diamond control curve, and save all shelves. The next one that we are going to load is we are going to open the joint control curve. Okay, so we're going to open that guy up. So this is another control. It looks like a joint. It's not a joint. So I'm going to click it. This is just made up of a bunch of different circles. Okay, so it's made up of 1, 2, like 3 different circles. Looks like, yeah, 3 circles. All right. So we're going to open it and we're going to call this joint control curve. Copy it, put it into my tooltip and JCC, and save all shelves. All right, so the next thing that we are going to load is we are going to go File, Open Script, and we are going to open our, let's open our color curves wireframe. Now this one's a tricky one because it's actually 3 scripts in one. So let's move this up a bit so we can see it a bit more. So this is one script. This is a second script, and this is a third script. So do not select all 3 of them and put them up on your shelf because it will not work. So we're going to do one at a time. So we're going to start with this little end bracket here, select up to where it says curve wireframe color yellow, middle mouse drag it up here. Then we're going to select the bracket, the second bracket, and select up to where it says curve wireframe color red. And lastly, we're going to select the bottom bracket and select up to where it says curve wireframe color blue. And then we're going to test these out. So I'm going to duplicate this guy a couple times. All right, so to see if this works, that's one, it's yellow, red, blue. So it does work. So let's name these. So we're going to open this. So this is our color curve wireframe yellow. Copy. That's our tooltip. And we're going to call it CYLW. Uh-oh. Why is this like this? Let's go away. And then we're going to change this to yellow. And there we go. Okay, so then the next one for red, we're just going to do it as go along. We're going to change the color to red. This rename here, let's make sure this is red and red. And the icon label is going to be C red. And then this last one is blue. So we'll just call this blue. If I double click, I can Control C to copy, Control V as in Victor to paste, and this is going to be C bleu, BLU, and let's choose a nice blue color. This is a little bit dark, so we're going to lighten up just a bit so we can see it. There we go. Okay, then we're going to save all shelves. All right, so how do you do this from scratch? Because that's a really good question. So we're going to actually make 3 of these. Oh man, I hope the sound is still coming through, guys. We're going to make 3 of these, and we're going to rotate this up and make 1, 2, 3. So to do this manually, what you do is you select the object, and actually let's just move these out of the way and move these into the forefront so we can really see them. So we're going to select this one, hit Control A. That takes us into our attribute editor. We're going to twirl down object display. We're going to twirl down drawing overrides. We're going to check enable overrides, and then we have to find the color that we want. In this case, the color is yellow. Where are you? Yellow. There we are. Okay. To do that, so it's the same thing with all of the rest of these. So I would check enable overrides, and we would find red. Now there's a lot of different colors here. And the colors correspond with a number, and that number is the number they are on the actual, like here. So the number for blue is, if we go to edit, the number for blue is 6. Okay. If we were to select red, we would see the number is 13. If we were to go to yellow, we would see in the command that the number is 17. I believe that there is another one that is, I believe white is 16. So we can actually go in here and change this if we wanted to. We could let's drag yellow up there again. And we're going to edit it. And we're going to change this to white. And what we need to do is see where white is. So we know yellow is 17, and I think white, it's right before yellow. So we know that that's 16. So we're going to type in 16 here, and we're going to make sure this says white in our notes, right? Because this is a note. And okay, so now this should change things so that they are white. And let's rename this. So we're going to call this white. And we'll test it out in just a minute. Right? Copy, paste, and it's going to be CWHT. And we're going to save all shelves. And let's select it and click this. Oh, didn't work. Oh, well, let's try this one. And it did work. All right, so let me turn off enable overrides here and see if it works. And it does. So if you have enable overrides checked on, it's going to literally override whatever the color was before. All right, so that's how you can make more custom colors, starting with the script that I provided. All right, so we're going to open another script. Excuse me. And this one is going to be the locator alignment tool. This is a good one. This is the LAT tool. And this is going to help you to align joints and controls to one another. And we are going to open it up. The icon label is LAT. The tooltip is locator alignment tool. I hope I spelled that right. And that's what the rename is going to be also. All right, so the LAT tool, what does the LAT tool do? All right, so let's go into right side view. So here's another thing that we need. We need the joint create tool. So if we go into rigging and we go control and shift skeleton create joints, we now have that on our shelf. So I am going to create a joint chain. I'm going to hit X so that I can snap this to the grid. I'm going to make the equivalent. So let's just pretend like this is an ankle, this is a ball joint, and this is the tip of a toe. Okay, so that is the equivalent of what this is. If we want to make these bigger, that's when we go to our joint size. Right now it's 50%. If I put it at 1, as you can see, that makes all the joints uniformly bigger. So the LAT tool, if I click it, so you select any joint. I'm going to select this top joint and hit LAT, and it's going to create this locator that is oriented to the joint. As you can see, it's pointing in the same direction of the joint. So let's take this step by step. This process, if we were doing it step by step, would be as follows. First off, I am going to create a locator and add it to my shelf because we do use an awful lot of locators. Oh, well, let's hit Control and Shift, and also, oh, that's interesting. Control Shift, create locator. There we go. Now it's on my shelf. That was very strange. All right, we only need one locator. So the first thing that we would do is we would snap it to the joint. The second thing we would do is we'd want to orient it to the joint. So in order to orient it to the joint, we'd select the joint, shift select the locator, and we would constrain it. So we would either do a parent constraint or an orient constraint. I happen to know that the constraint in the LAT tool is a parent constraint. Let's open this up. Let's reset settings. Okay, so if we have maintain offset checked on, this is not going to rotate properly. So we want to make sure that maintain offset is checked off. We don't want to maintain offset. There we go. So now we have now rotated this locator. The locator is rotated so that it is oriented to the joint. But the next thing we have to do is we have to delete the constraint. So let's take a look at this in the command editor. So as you can see, it says find the object. For all objects in selection, run the following commands. Create a locator, which I did. Align the locator to the first selection via parent constraint. Find and delete the parent constraint. Then it takes it a whole nother level. It renames it. So it says rename the locator loc align as the prefix. Okay, so it's basically saying, hey, make this loc align underscore whatever the name already was. So we could do, I don't know, ankle 01, right? So that is a really, really cool script. So that's what that does. So let me show you once again. So I'm actually going to name this joint. I'm going to call this BN underscore L for left underscore foot. It's ankle foot 01. Okay. I'm going to go into my LAT tool and go to its command. And I'm actually going to change this from loc align to loc ori because a lot of the things I'm going to be asking you to do are to rename the locators loc ori for Orient. So let's just do that here. So that's just going to rename it. It's not changing any other part of the script. So let's just do, yeah, so here we go. So loc ori, so it should work. So we're going to close it up and we're going to select LAT. And if I select this, take a look at it. It says loc ori underscore bn underscore l underscore foot 01. So it renamed it for me. So you can change that prefix really easily, as I just showed you guys. So easy peasy. You could change it back to loc align if you wanted to. All right, I think we have a few more scripts, and then we will be done. So file, open script. We also have the mirror objects tool. That's a good one. Let's open that. MRT tool, we'll put this up here and we are going to open it. We're going to call this mirror objects tool and we're going to put that as the tooltip and we're going to call it MRT. So what does that mean? So let's say we had this guy and it's actually going to be moved over here. And let's just move that over there with it. All right, so we'll just pretend like this is a control or something like that. So let's say we have this one leg. We've already mirrored the other leg, and it's over here. So the MR, what this does is it basically, let's click it, it mirrors your object. So if we were to do this from scratch, we'd have to do it the following way. We'd have to Control D to duplicate it, Control G to group it. Why do we want to group it? Because we want the pivot point at the middle here. Then we have to put -1 in the X for the group. Then we would have to ungroup it. So that is how you do that from scratch. And if you were to look at the commands in Mel, you would see that's exactly what the steps that I just took. Otherwise, you just click MRT and it'll do it for you. Okay. All right, so let's do all these. All right, so the next tool we are going to load is File, Open Script, Locate Alignment, Mirror Objects. Let's do the Object Alignment tool. So this, what does this do? Oh, I know what this does, I think. Aligns the position of the object. Ah, yes, I know. This is a good one. APT tool. So let's Object Alignment tool. Copy, paste it. It's called APT. And save all shelves. All right, so we're going to need a couple things here. So I'm going to create really fast a cube. And I'm going to, let's make it a bench. And we're going to bring it up here. Let's go into front view. Hopefully you guys heard all of that with all that nonsense happening. We're going to create another cube. And yes, I could have had interactive turned on, but I didn't. So we're going to just hit X, make it like this. We're going to MRT this tool, right? If it's black like this, that means the normals got switched. So you go back to modeling, and all you have to do is mesh display, reverse. That'll reverse the normals. Okay. So now we're going to do one more. We're just going to put it like this. So what does the APT tool does? It selects. If you select all three of these, it centers it perfectly. So that's going to be really important for your control for both your IK control for your knee and your IK control for your elbows. Okay, so it'll center it perfectly, even though the elbow or the knee will not be necessarily center perfect, the control will be. So how did I do this otherwise? You select both of these, select this third one, and you would point constraint. So we'd go to rigging, constrain, point, maintain offset, and click add. And then you'd go and you'd delete that constraint. I did not mean to do that. Yeah, so that's how you would do that manually. So that's the APT tool. Okay, so the next one, I think we have only one or two left. We did parent chain, reorient joint tool. So we have two. We have the cluster mark center global proc tool, and then we have the reorient joint tool. So I'm going to open this tool, RJT, and bring it up here. Open it. Label is RJT. Reorient joint tool. I'm pretty sure. Okay, good. Reorient joint tool. I thought I misspelled it. Happens. All right, so what this does is it orients in joints. So I'm going to go to the right view, and we're just going to create a very quick short leg. All right. Now, these local rotation axes are probably all kinds of a mess. So I'll select hierarchy and LRA. And as you can see, yeah, this one's pointing in the wrong direction, but all the others are pointing in the correct direction. So this one, all you have to do is click RJT and it will fix it. You cannot do that with non-end joints, but you can with end joints. So that's what the RJT tool does. Now, a cool thing, so Maya for the longest time, and now again, it does have an orient joint tool. And as long as you have it oriented to the world, oh, unclick it. Oh wait, I need to select, it helps to select things. Let's reset the setting. Orient joint to the world, select the joint and orient it. It will orient that end joint. Helps to select things, like I said. But for many different versions of Maya, that tool didn't work properly, and so they had to create the script RJT. So the script is there for you if you need it. All right, the last one is creating cluster tool, which is really cool. So we're just going to put it here and we're going to load it up and open it. And this is called the Mark the Center Cluster Creator. Cluster Creator. So this is an interesting one. And this will help with making joints for the arm. So it's the MCC. All right. So I want to save the scripts. All right, so I did not want to save those scripts because I think it would have made them empty. So I just said, no, I don't want to save anything because I cleared all. All right, so I now have my my shelf. Let me show you what the MCC does, and then I'll show you how to save your shelf, find your shelf on your computer, and copy and paste it. So onto a flash drive or onto the cloud or a portable hard drive. So for the MCC, let's do like a cylinder, and we're going to make the radius of that cylinder 0.5, and we are going to add some subdivisions. We're going to add like 5 subdivisions to it, and we're going to make that height 5, and we're going to go like this and bring it up. Okay. Now, if you have an arm that's, say, like this, it's not very easy to make straight joints. So the MCC should allow you to do it. So we're going to go into edge mode, double click on this, and then click the MCC. Let's hit 4 so we can see through here. And it's not working. Should be. Should be able to run the command. Let's see if the other one runs. Let's go File, Open Script. Let's do this one. And let's see if we can't run that one. There we go. Okay, this is the one that's working. So we're going to put that up here. We're going to delete this one. And then we're going to open this one and do MCC. So it's the mark, it's just the regular Mark the Center one. All right, so as you can see, we have a cluster here, and we can do that for the rest of these two, right? So what this means is you can actually, let's say this is on a layer, and we've made it so it's not selectable. So I can go to my joint tool and I can hit V and snap my joints to the corresponding clusters, which is really great, right? And then I could just parent them to one another. I mean, I would have to fix them so that they're, or I could just do, so they're all pointing in the same direction, or I could just do like this, right? And so we have 3 joints. Oh, uh-oh. Sorry about that. I kept accidentally hitting the space bar. So now we have our three joints and they're all facing in the same direction except for this one, which we would RJT, which would fix it. Okay, so this is a way that you can get a nice straight line of joints. That's what the MCC tool can do. All right, so the last thing that we need to do is we need to save our shelf. So first off, I'm going to save all shelves. And then what we need to do is you will have to go to your documents folder, I believe, Maya, on your C drive. I think it's on the C drive. Let's go to C drive. Yeah, C drive, program folders. Let's see if we can't find Maya. I don't see Maya here, so no. Oh, here's Autodesk. No. Let's go to documents. I believe it's documents. Maya. Oops. 2018. It's going to be shelves. So let's go to preferences. There we go. Shelves. So it should be in here and it should be called Mayette_rigging. And sure enough, here it is. And it's under 12/13/2019. So once again, it's in your doc. So here is the the rabbit hole. You're going to go to your documents folder, Maya 2018 or 2019 if that's what you have, though we will be using 2018 for this class. Preferences, shelves. Then you will select it. I'm not going to take it out of here, but I am going to copy it. And then I can go here into my assets folder and paste it. Voila. So that's how you save your shelf. So if something funky happens, you still have it and you can reload it. To reload a shelf, you could go to the shelf editor's cogwheel and load shelf. All right, that's today's lesson. Till next time. Bye-bye.